Right now. Okay, we are now live. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Foodie Confidential. My name is Jeff. This is Trevor, and we talk about food stuff. Restaurant stuff, all kinds of stuff in relation to culinary stuff. And Trevor, what's our topic for today?
Oh boy, our topic for today is being in the weeds. And what that is when you are in the restaurant business, and this could all, and now that I'm not per se working in a restaurant, this can mean something that you are experiencing in your everyday life.
Yeah,
Like I just was before this um in the weeds basically means you're in the shit. You are uh,
exactly.
you are very busy.
Yeah,
Nothing's going your way.
right.
Everything alters your physical and mental state of mind.
I would add to that. I mean, yes, all those things above, but I would also say this. I would say that basically, if you're working, as Trevor says, it applies to every like facet of life. But in the realm of, say, being a server or working on the food line or whatever, being in the weeds means you are overwhelmed. You are
Right.
overwhelmed. You have too much to do, and it is a testament to multitasking, right?
And many things can get you in the weeds. And
Right.
I I love senior servers, and meaning like people who are like let's say 45 and older, right?
Yeah.
Experienced servers, great professionals, know the ins and outs of serving, could probably freaking run the whole entire restaurant by themselves. But when it comes to the new modern technology, they are in the weeds. And boy, is it funny to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it mainly. I've not really seen it on the line. I've seen it on the line, but all my experience with being in the weeds is really from the front of house server perspective, maybe a little bit in the host position. Like I said,
Mhm.
I've worked every front of house position in one way or another, from being a food runner to being a server. I've been a host. I've been a busboy. I've done all these sorts of. I've done bar backing. I used to be a raw. I was a. I did. I was the raw shucker. I was a mean mother shucker. I used to shuck oysters. I do all the treasures, the illegal seafood. So I put that all together, and that you could get in the weeds with that. But
Oh yeah.
basically, to be in the weeds means to be lost in your tasks. You know?
Yeah, and it's funny because like I feel like it primarily serves the front of the house employees, but I have seen back of the house employees be in the weeds too, and
Prep.
it's a real testament to the way the restaurant runs. Uh,
Yes.
let's say you're at a restaurant. Let's talk about the back of the house, and then we'll finish off to the front of the house because I feel like
Sure.
there's a lot more to talk about on the front of the house. But
Yes.
let's say the restaurant is a type of restaurant that um, needs to take the whole entire order at once, your appetizers and your entrees. And they're doing that because the way that the ticket comes into the kitchen for the guys to start cooking is they'll see, okay, here are the first courses. And then there's either a line or a number to say, here are the second courses. So, therefore, the expediter and the chef and all the guys in the back can start immediately making the appetizers while thinking about the entrees. So, sometimes like people will not understand, like, I'm sorry, the chef wants everything at once. And it's literally to not have the kitchen get in the weeds because there's things called order in, order fire, which basically means order in. Okay, we have a bunch of appetizers we're cooking, but when they're done with the appetizers, we need to make a steak, a chicken, and a pasta dish. And as line cooks can get prepared, they know that they can start preheating whatever food can be preheated, or get their, stuff in order. But then
Explain the lamps, Trevor. Explain the lamps and how they're dangerous and not so dangerous, and how the lamps can further ruin things or put somebody in the weeds.
yeah, so like if when you're in a restaurant, most of them have heat lamps, or
On
basically,
the line.
yeah, basically something to keep the food hot for, I would say, no more than a minute. And
Well, if you're really, if that really a minute is that is a nice restaurant. That's a restaurant
absolutely,
that's really on top of its game.
absolutely, and for the way I would run restaurants is cold plate, cold food, hot plate, hot food.
Right.
Those plates shouldn't be burning hot when they are served to you. They really shouldn't be hot. And sometimes it's maybe they preheated the oven and they got the plate too hot, or sometimes the plate was under that lamp for quite some time, and
most of the time.
And it doesn't necessarily cook it, but it kind of does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if it's a temperature based, if you have something that's fish that has to be a certain temperature, or a steak that has to be a certain temperature, of course it's going to cook.
Yeah.
Or dry out.
I don't know this off the top of my head, but I think the heat lamps are around 180 degrees to 200 degrees of just like when you're touching it, it's hot. But, as
Right.
you go down, since heat rises,
Right.
it's just keeping it warm.
Right.
But the biggest thing that I would see with the back of the house get frustrated is an order fire, which basically means this table just got entrees. That's it. So they can't have a flow. They immediately have to start cooking their entrees, which is technically jumping the whole entire ticket line. You know what I mean? Because there might be 5 tables already in, and they are on their appetizers or they're getting ready for their entrees. And then the whole entire flow of the kitchen has to stop because order fire for this hamburger and this steak. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? It really is what it is.
Let me pick that up from you, because that flows into what something that I wanted to say perfectly. You actually explained it, the back of house, way better than I would have for that. And then the front of house. So, but let's go back in time. Let's hop in our time machine and go back for a second, because everything that Trevor just described really doesn't start with the back of the house. It starts with the front of the house.
Yep.
And this is something that this is a testament to having a good or a bad server, because at the end of the day, if you want to ever sound like a real, like if you want to sound, that meme with Winnie the Pooh where it's like Winnie the Pooh and then it's Winfred the duty, and then Winston the feces. If you want to sound more elevated in where your position than maybe it might be, or if you basically what I'm trying to say is if you want to say it in a fancier way, a server is a food and beverage engineer, in terms of like you're a service engineer in the sense that you are in charge of scheduling. So much about being a server is about knowing how to schedule a meal on the fly based on the type of client, based on a few different factors. How busy is the restaurant? What kind of clientele you have? Are they the type of people that are slow eaters or fast eaters? There are so many different are they waiting on people to come and join them? Did they call in an order? Like there's so many factors that go into this. Are there little kids? Do the little kids have a shelf? Can you see me? Yeah, there you go. If you are really on top of your game, you're checking with the family. Hey, I see you have little kids. Do they have what's the situation? I just want to be, considerate of your family's needs.
First, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Should I be ordering their food first? Are they going to be able to wait? All of that stuff additionally needs to be weighed and compared to the kitchen and everything that Trevor just said and how busy the kitchen is. Is the kitchen overwhelmed? Is the line overwhelmed? Do they have too many tickets? What kind of items are being cooked? Is it steaks and hamburgers or beef and chicken? Or is it like steamed vegetables that take 5 minutes in a big boiling pot of water? What is being handled? And then being able to make rash judgment calls where you go, okay, I'm firing that ticket. And, and what do I mean by fire a ticket? It just means send it to the kitchen printer so that it prints up and they put their ticket on the line. And again, I'm talking, there are so many different tech situations. Now it's all touch screen.
Yeah.
Well,
like just like to finish up with the kitchen aspect, you need to have a good expediter. The expert job is sometimes a great expediter or the chef himself. And the way that they do it in the kitchen, like it's literally like a military line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so much.
One person is cooking the steak, this one person's cooking the vegetables, this one person's cooking this. And when, let's just give an example. I have a board of tickets and with table numbers, and we're firing entrees. An expediter will go, and this is where a good kitchen staff and people who are skilled and memorize and listen come into place. The expediter will say, all right, guys, we're on fire. I need table 10, table 12, table 13, and table 2. And then after he says all those tables, the guys in the line that are cooking are not reading the tickets. If they are, they're screwed. What they're hearing is that's going to be 6 steaks going medium rare, 2 steaks going medium, 4 lobsters, and 5 pasta dishes. And then they all repeat what they're going to be cooking. Yes, chef, 4 lobsters, this, that, whatever. And that's the communication of the kitchen. So therefore, when it gets really, really them in the weeds is when, all right, guys, one of those steaks just came back. I need this medium rare on the fly. Stop service, start cooking, screwed.
Right. Yeah. When it gets on the fly, when you're getting stuff on the fly, what you're basically asking for is you're prioritizing one table over the rest of the tables. And now here's also another difference in thought and philosophy from front of the house and the back of the house. Front of the house is freaking out because they're going, that's my tip going out the window. Back of the house is going, I get paid hourly. I don't care that you need this on the fly. I've got to make sure all this stuff happens.
And also the ego saying that's a fucking perfect medium rare.
Right. Because people, and I've been in situations, now there are lots of, we can get to solutions. Maybe we should make a whole section just about solutions. But a great solution that I have found is that a lot of the time, and this is just psychology, and I wouldn't recommend to always do this, and you're really peeking behind the curtain, and Trevor might have a completely different philosophy than I. But there are some times where you are in such a jam where somebody sends something back and you can literally bring it back to them as long as it's not, because the thing is, at my restaurant, everywhere, restaurants take allergies very seriously. It is so important, even no matter how full of crap you think the person is or how, neurotic you think they are being, you never want to
salt allergy. Yes.
Right. A salt allergy, great example. Yeah, but you want to know something? You never want to be in a situation where you send someone to the ER for whatever reason. And I've seen people go to the ER because of waiter mistakes. It is devastating. It's a devastating thing.
Especially the callback too, like, hey, to do anything, but I just want to let you know I had food poisoning or an allergy reaction, next day.
Wait, let me hold on. I just want to finish one thing.
Yeah, go
about that. No, but what I was going to say is that what Trevor was just saying about the ego and the steak being cooked perfectly well, you can hold on. I got a freeze from Trevor. Oh, there you are. Sometimes you can trick people thinking especially with bar drinks. Bar drinks number more than anything, because just like the bar is an extension of the back of the house with cooking, and you have to bring them back. They got drink tickets and they got to remake drinks. Sometimes people will send a drink back. It's not strong enough. You can send it. You can literally walk through the kitchen, come back around and go, here you are, sir, with the exact same drink that they had. And they will take a sip and they will go, thank you. That's much better. And whether they actually believe that it's better or whether they don't think it's better, for social and societal purposes, they will accept that drink and totally be okay with it. Everybody's happy. You didn't have to get 1 extra ounce of alcohol spilled out, like all this stuff that goes into, you know, having to remake a drink. And same thing with food. So
yeah, and you're totally right about where the in the weeds starts. It's definitely the front of the house, and let's start focusing on that now, because we kind of you know talked about the kitchen. There's many more things to talk about in the kitchen.
well, hold on 1 second though. It does start generally with front of the house, but there are times where if back of the house is already backed up for whatever reason, if there's down a cook, if they're whatever,
Right.
that leads to the problem. That could lead to a backup problem, but that's just one way to be in the weeds. So, Trevor, what are some other ways that people get in the weeds?
Let's start with when you first come into the restaurant and you see the hostess. So almost every single place that I've worked at, unless if it was slow, would always have sections. And sections meaning that this waiter has this section, meaning those tables, and then that section. Very rarely, maybe during a lunch shift, they would go table for table, depending on how big the restaurant is or how busy the restaurant is. But for the most part, let's say we're in a dinner service, we're expecting close to 150, 200 covers, and we got 6 servers on the floor. 6 servers to cover, let's say, a 50 seat section. And the hostess is usually told, okay, like let's seat these people here in that section and then that section, so you have a flow of the servers basically getting equal tables and timely fashion amount of tables. Now, there's always that one section that everybody wants when it's either a server to make more money or the customer to be more comfortable, meaning it has a nice view of the outside,
Right.
next to a fireplace, whatever it may be. And if that if that section's open, sometimes you'll turn around and it's like, oh my God, I have 3 new tables all at once with open menus. That, for me, was always how I used to get in the weeds. And it would boost me to get my shit together. Like, fuck, I have to get this person's order, then get their drinks, then this person's order, then get them drinks. And then you never know what these people are going to be doing. Can I have water? Can I have more ice? You know, here's your ice. Can I get lemons? Here's your lemons. And you're going back and forth, and you haven't even got to that other table to say, hello, my name is Trevor. I'll be taking care of you tonight. That is my that's like my go-to immediate in the weeds moment. You know, a lot of places, like sometimes I like look when I come in as a customer and it's like, okay, I see what they're doing. They're doing sectionals, even though that whole entire section's open over there. Maybe they're doing this for the flow of the restaurant.
Well, what happens is typically, I mean, there's when it comes to host stuff, there could be a lot of corruption at the host stand, because here's the other thing, you know, one of the religions in restaurantum, in front of house restaurantum, is the rotation, the holy rotation.
Yeah.
Rotation is a sacred engine by which the harmony flows, because the rotation is determines, you know, it can mess with your money. It can, you know, determine how many tables you're going to get for the night, like all that sort of stuff. So it's like there's a rotation, but what can happen is, in addition to there being a rotation, the flip side of that is, as Trevor was kind of talking about, there are different sections, and some sections are more desirable than other sections because, oh, they're by the window. So that's a primo section. That's where that's a high traffic area where people request to sit down, because even if the rotation is being followed by the host and they're not just seating their best friend 1,000 times over and over again, the table, the customers might, the guests might go, can we have that table over there? And meanwhile, that person's, as Trevor just said, that person's been double sat already. I remember when I was a server, the number one thing you want to do, you want to greet, get a drink order, and move on. And there have been times I got to a point where I found, for the level of, like, for the level of this restaurant that I was working in, one of them, where it was okay to say, take a drink order, or to interrupt and say, would you excuse me for 1 moment, and sometimes disappear for 2 or 3 minutes, especially if they were still looking at menus, because they don't mind. They're not going to mind, especially if I've already taken a drink order. Excuse me for one moment. Can I get a drink order and I will be right back? So that way you're coming back with drinks so they know you're doing something and not just icing them.
Yeah.
And trying to hit, 3 tables in that way. Because at the end of the day, and I worked at a restaurant too where we were our own busboys. So not only are you doing all this stuff, but not only am I doing all this stuff, but I have to clean. I'm only going to get sat again if I can clean and reset the table. So sometimes I have to choose between getting sat again and greeting a table. It's like, oh, I got to get them their drinks. But if I don't clean up that table, then I'm not going to get sat there, which is not good for the restaurant, which is not good for my pocket, but directly contradicts, my pocket as well, because I got to, greet this table and make sure that their service goes well. So,
yeah. And you hit it on the head. Like, so I think all restaurants should allow what you talked about, the communication aspect with the guest.
Yeah.
Because like, if I'm talking with you and I know I have to take care of another guest, the communication to let the other person know, like, okay, I got your drink orders. Just a second. I have another table that I need to go greet.
Yeah.
I will be right back. Because when you, let's say if I say, what do you want to drink? Vodka martini and a Diet Coke. Okay, you got it. And then you walk away. You have no idea what could happen from walking away to finally returning with those 2 drinks. Whether here are some more weed situations, whether another table says this isn't medium rare, then you have to go to the kitchen. Then all of a sudden you forget about these drinks because you're so focused on getting that steak back, because that's very, very important to get that steak back to the customer.
Right.
Then
2 minutes, 2 bites.
Then what happens if the bartender has to go to the storage place because he just ran out of vodka, or the manager has to go
triple sec,
or the manager has to go, oh great, the Diet Coke's out, I got to go fill that. That takes 2 or 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So the community.
Wait, you had your managers would refill the Diet Coke? We had to refill the Diet Coke.
Dude, I always had to do that shit because they would.
Man,
they would always connect it cockeyed. They'd always, and the sound, the tss, tss, tss.
Yeah, of course.
And so basically what I'm trying to get at is the communication is so key in a restaurant. Like, to just let them know and to be aware. And this is where to not get in the weeds comes into place. The multi aspect. And it's not necessarily multitasking with your hands, it's multitasking with your brain.
That's right.
That my bartender right now isn't the strongest service bartender, but then on another night I'm good because the champion bartender is there tonight, and I know my drink's going to be there waiting for me because he's on point or she's on point. And then, when I communicate with a guest, I'm giving a personal touch to make them feel important, to make them feel appreciated, and to let them know what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people find it so like embarrassing to say like, hold on 1 second, he has to go get more vodka when he should have been, prepared before the dinner shift and had backups already, or, I'm sorry, they're backed up. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather know than just basically start judging like, well, this waiter sucks.
Well, the other thing too, another way to buy time, especially if the menu is a complicated menu or there's a lot of exploration that's needed. I got to freeze. Trevor, are you there? There you are. If there's a few preliminary questions that can avoid me getting in the weeds, and it's very simple. I can just go, welcome to this restaurant. It's your first time with us. That whole thing. And then I say, do you need a little time with the menu? And they always say yes. I'll say, great. Can I get a drink order started for you? And then leave and let them look over to the menu and bring them their drinks, ask them. And it's like, as you said, that clear communication. Do you need a little bit more time at the menu? And when I say, do you need a little bit more time at the menu? It's not so much a question as it is take some more time with the menu.
Yeah.
Because they're usually going to say yes, because they like to explore the menu. And then what will happen often is one person will be ready, but the other person is not ready. Mm-hmm. And then I could either take an appetizer order, or I can say, You know what? I'll give you a few minutes, or why don't you take a few more minutes, or I'll give you a few more minutes, but it always is at their convenience. You always make it look like it's for their benefit, not for my own, when secretly it's for my own because I need to get to tend to other tables.
It's your cop out to escape.
Right. Of
Yeah,
course.
take your time. I'm
Right.
busy.
Yep. Yep.
And
Or I'll even have people that are just like, I'm so sorry. I have like no idea what I want, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just go, you know what? Don't take your time. It's all good. I'm going to be right over there. I'll be watching you. You let me know when you're ready. I'll come back. I'll take your order. And I've had people, they wave me down. They say, hey, I'm ready. I'm like, great. I come over, do the thing. It doesn't have to be so formal. It's not like I have to, psychically, read their mind and know that they're ready.
now here's the weeds part of the menu.
Okay. Oh yeah. Go
Here
ahead.
we go. Ready?
Yes.
Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to so and so. What's good here? Oh, what's good here? Well, that's a personal question, first of all. And then how do you know that like all I eat is rice and salt? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what's good here? Immediate weeds. And then, so can you explain the menu for me?
Oh my God.
When the explanation, it's kind of hard because like I understand where they're coming from, but at the end of the day, when it says shrimp franchise, underneath it usually says what's in the shrimp franchise. So you
Yeah.
feel thick and a little arrogant asshole to say like, oh, it's egg battered with some white wine, butter, lemon, and parsley. Oh, lemon, parsley. Does that say that? Oh, it does say that here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the flip side of that too, and especially for someone who is like me, and feeling, insurmountable passive aggression from years and years and years of working in restaurants and dealing with customers, and getting to a point where I really do experience PTSD, post traumatic server disorder. Um, they become opportunities to snipe or to crack jokes at your table's expense, or to passive aggressively, sort of insert comments, or just ooze at the stupidity or lack of common sense.
Well, let me give you an example because I went out to dinner last night at this restaurant called Goose Feather. Goose
Oh,
Feather.
how was that? I saw that. I saw that you did that. I've always wanted to go there.
So Goose Feather is by a famous chef, Dale Tade. He's got plenty of restaurants around, I believe. I don't know necessarily the world, but I definitely know throughout the United States. It's in Tarrytown.
Right.
It's at the old Tarrytown Estate Mansion, which is like, I guess, like an old school hotel, and then they have the restaurant there. Absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend it. If you want to try like eclectic Chinese food, not just your traditional mom and pop Chinese food, it is out of this world. But just to bring this as an example, I kind of yeah, you like that, right?
Yeah.
I kind of did the let me put my dinner in the waiter's hands because I've never been there before. I know some of these dishes, but I don't know what's good or what I'm not going to like. So this is
That's where I shined. That's where I shined as a waiter.
and it's the best because
Yeah.
you are taking pride in your job there. So this is exactly what I did. I said, I want to do family style. I'm going to order a bunch of different things,
Yeah.
and you let me know if I'm ordering something that I shouldn't or that I should switch it out with something that I'm not ordering. And what I did was I said, I want this, I want this, I want this to start out, and then we're going to share this, this, and this. How'd I do? He goes, do you hit it on the spot? I think you're missing out on the duck. Get the duck. And I said, no problem. Let's get the duck too. And that was it. Phenomenal meal.
And he upcharged you by saying that you missed the duck.
He did upcharge me, and that's fine. And
Right.
when I order that way, I'm not ordering because it's what I want. I'm ordering because I think this is what's going to be good. You know what I mean? And then I also want the waiter to put it in his hands to say, you're ordering great, or you didn't do it. You
Right.
didn't do it right. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of the hospitality industry, because he probably knew that I was in the biz once in my life, or currently in, and like, okay, this person's just ordering food. He's not asking questions. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. He's just ordering food to enjoy an experience and try something new.
Right, right. This was, I want to chime in on this because this is the one part of being a server, apart from like, for me, being a server was all about, was just a means to an end of needing the flexibility of a lifestyle that eventually I really could not sustain anymore because when I, had kids and, wanted to have weekends with my son, who, which is very hard to do when you work in a restaurant. It's just impossible because Sunday is like, again, in all of restaurantum, Sunday is like the day to work a double and to make the most amount of money ever, or Saturday night too, but Saturday night and Sunday all day. And that's your whole weekend. And, and then if your kid is, 5 or 6 years old, they're going to school, Monday through Friday. So, but I took great pride as a foodie, because I am a foodie and I'm a passionate food lover. And I felt very passionate about a lot of the food at the restaurants I worked at. And so this is where I love this part of the job. I love turning people on to new things or asking them questions. This is where you can interview someone. You can ask them questions. Like a great example, we had a dish. It was called Dan Dan noodles. Are you familiar with this dish, Trevor?
Mm-mm.
Well, that's good actually, because if you're not familiar, but Trevor, you like Italian food, right?
I love all food. I actually am just really not familiar with the Asian cuisine. Like,
No, I know, but I'm literally doing what I did as a server right now. So, Trevor, do you like Italian food?
oh, this is what you're doing. I love it.
Yeah,
Love
you do
pasta.
like Italian food. So, if you're interested in the Dan Dan noodles, or if you're interested in a dish that you might really enjoy, you might want to check out the Dan Dan noodles because essentially, Dan Dan noodles is like the Chinese version of spaghetti bolognese, made with a brown sauce. It's an umami brown sauce, a little bit spicy, got some green onion in there, and it's got, instead of chopped up beef, it's chopped up chicken over
Oh,
egg noodles.
sold.
Right. So I loved coming up with hot takes like do you like, oh, it's the Chinese version of spaghetti bolognese, or I love turning people on. People are like, oh, I want something super crazy and weird. I'd be like, you got to get the shrimp with candied walnut sauce, which is
Yeah.
melon balls, candied walnuts, and shrimp in a sort of a sweet lemony mayo sauce tossed around. It's delicious, out of this world.
And I'll say something about myself. I'm not like this anymore, but it's a little bit embarrassing. I used to have a baby palate.
Oh,
Uh,
what?
a baby palate. I used I would say from since I remember eating food till 17 years old.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
17 years old. I didn't have fish. I didn't have steak under well done. I ate everything with ketchup. And it now being in the restaurants, that is a disgrace. But that's how I was.
Yeah.
Really how I was. And it made me, when I started working in restaurants, I needed to know the menu. I needed to know the food. So
Right.
that's where I started to eat mussels. I started to eat seafood. I started to eat the steak, how it was being prepared, medium rare. And I said to myself, wow, like I've been missing out because I wasn't adventuring into something that I wasn't comfortable with.
Right.
I don't know what it was. Maybe the blood scared me when I was a kid, and I had trauma from it, or
Yeah.
or or maybe like one time my mom or dad got a fish and it smelled like a seafood market, and I didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it is how I was until I got into the restaurant business, and now I will eat steak rare, still mooing. I will eat any kind of food from sea urchins to pig's brains to literally everything. I freaking eat everything now. And just how you were talking about explaining a dish to get someone to like it who does not want to order it. One of my biggest things that I make are goat cheese fritters. I hated goat cheese.
Yum.
Hated it how people hate blue cheese. I love both. And the first time I really enjoyed goat cheese was fried, obviously. So what I would do is exactly what you would do. Like, ooh, goat cheese? I don't know about it, but miss or mister, You like mozzarella sticks? Yeah, I like mozzarella sticks. Well, this is like a gourmet mozzarella stick. It's creamy. It has the same outsides of a mozzarella stick, blah, 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 blah. And then they try it. And all of a sudden, in a month or a year, it's our best selling salad because it went on top of like a salad as like a little oomph. But I love them now. Can't get enough of them. You know what I mean? Sometimes I like will choose making goat cheese fritters over mozzarella sticks, but you can never get enough of mozzarella sticks. But it's just the way
Yeah.
that you compare something that's familiar to something
Right.
and it just will click in someone's mind to say, okay, I'm going to try it. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, we are usually allowed to say that was on me. No problem. Let me get you something that you like.
Same here. And that was super important, with that was something that the managers were always really cool about too. And something I would always encourage of the servers that I trained is that, if you're making a recommendation or, if a server is getting mad about my comps, I'll be like, look, it was my recommendation. You guys, because, you as a server are encouraged to sell. You're encouraged to sell and you're encouraged to give people a memorable experience at your restaurant or an experience that would lead them to return in the future. And both of those can require experimentation. But we're actually getting really off the rails on this because this is a fun topic, but it doesn't, well, I mean, it still technically counts because it's about being in the weeds. It's my fault because I was talking about how I love that aspect of the job.
Yeah, I just messaged you. We're both like we're talking about servers now. Let's go back.
Did you message me? Let me see.
Let's go back to the weeds.
Oh.
Literally,
yes, you're right.
All right, great minds think alike.
Yeah, no, it's a good topic. We'll save that add that to your list of topics. But basically, it can get you into trouble when someone's asking you 1,000 questions, and then it gets even worse when they have allergies. And sometimes for us, we had a matrix that would allow us to take any ingredient that was in the menu. And the thing is, usually what you don't realize, folks, is that generally, if you're not like a diner that has like frozen lobster tail in the walk-in, usually all the ingredients, all the dishes in the restaurant are cooked with a bunch of very similar ingredients that can be rearranged in a variety of ways. So you're not ordering 1,000 different things just for, say, one dish. And again, I know that goes from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant, but generally most restaurants or a lot of restaurants will engineer their menus so that you're cooking, 80% of the dishes with these 50 ingredients, right?
Like you're not bringing in arugula for just one.
Right.
You're going to crossbreed it.
It's cost prohibitive. There's a lot of reasons why. But so what that allows though is that if someone has an allergy, we have special allergy menus that we can print out. And if you're not an idiot or if the thing doesn't keep updating, because it can keep updating, you essentially can laminate those menus and reuse them over and over again instead of having to run to the back and print out a new one every single time, which is what we always did for whatever dumb reason.
Yeah, I see it. Really, really, really quick. I mean, like this gluten allergy has been, brought to life in the last 20 years. Tremendous.
That has to be its own episode.
But just really quickly, like on menus now, you literally see GF everywhere. GF.
Right.
Just to stop that weeds moment is there gluten, because a lot of people don't even know what gluten is. What I mean? But we will talk about gluten in depth.
That's its own episode.
Absolutely.
Own episode.
Well, let's talk about.
Wait, hold on. I want to just finish my thing about the allergies real quick.
Yeah, go.
But so what happens, Trevor, is that, as you know, you get someone who has a bunch of allergies. Like I worked in Chinese restaurants. Someone's like, I'm allergic to soy sauce. I'm allergic to onion. I'm allergic to garlic. Oh, really? Here's steamed broccoli and a bowl of rice, because every single component, every single thing that is made in this restaurant needs soy sauce, garlic, and onion, in some way, shape, or form. And then you have people that are allergic to really funky things. Like I'm allergic to pineapple or cherries or something like that, which sometimes it can throw you off. But yeah, having to print out allergy menus, or even worse, the best example of being in the weeds with this is you bring out someone's food, and because here's the thing, even if they don't tell you they have an allergy, it's still your fault somehow. It's still your fault.
Yep.
And you still have to make it right. So they go, oh, this is mushrooms in it? I'm allergic to mushrooms. Or even better, when they say, I'm allergic to mushrooms, they see a mushroom. This happened to me once. They see a mushroom in a sauce and they go, I want to speak to a manager, blah, 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 blah. They want everything comped and they go, do you know that I can get deathly ill if I eat mushrooms? I can't have any mushrooms, blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget my manager at the time. She goes, you're allergic to mushrooms, huh? He's like, yeah. He's talking about one dish that has mushrooms. He goes, but do you have lo mein on your plate? Mind you, he didn't tell me that he had a mushroom allergy. You have lo mein on your plate. Yeah, so he goes, do you been eating that lo mein? Yeah, I've been eating that lo mein. It's delicious. Huh. You feel okay? Yeah, I feel fine. Please, I want this mushroom. Take these mushrooms away. I want my whole check comp, blah, blah, blah. Huh. You do know that the lo mein is made with brown sauce, which has oyster sauce in it, which has mushrooms. It does? And you're totally fine, right, sir? I mean, yeah, but every time.
Yeah, or the best. Now that's like a hidden one, a hidden ingredient. The best is when, yeah, I'll have the walnut chicken salad. You got it. Sir, I'm allergic to nuts, and there's nuts in my salad. Yeah, well, you ordered the walnut chicken salad and didn't say anything, but no problem. Let me go fuck myself.
Yeah. I love saying to when they say, "Are you allergic?" I'm allergic to nuts, and I say, "Oh, let me go get you a new server." Bad joke. Oh,
bad joke.
What were you going to say before I cut you off before about when I was talking still about allergies? We can land the airplane with that.
No, I was just. I mean, like, as you can see, we're 40 minutes in, and the
yeah
weeds. But I think a great like way to the show is to talk about the POS system, because POS system, which means point of sales, basically whatever they do to take your order kitchen. Sometimes it's old school diners. They write it on a guest check, flick it over there, and handwriting some, and the kitchen's in the weeds. Or the POS system just isn't user friendly for modifications. And I always think it's modifications that get people in the weeds. So those tickets can either be really, really small or freaking really, really long.
Oh yeah.
And it usually stems with the manager saying you're not consolidating your tickets, because when let's say if there's 5 people at a dish and they all order chicken parm, if a person on the POS system, and sometimes the POS systems don't allow you to do this, but if you write chicken parm, chicken parm, chicken parm, chicken parm, chicken parm, it's going to come into the kitchen and they're going to be like, all right, we need 1, 2, 3,
so annoying.
5 chicken parms, instead of just going 5 chicken parms and it has the number 5 next to chicken parm, and therefore it's easy to read.
That also depends. That depends on the system too.
Definitely depends on the system, but I feel like it's always a server's lunch that is modified to the point of, let's say it is a salad and they somehow transform this salad into
a hamburger.
A hamburger. Exactly. So man, you want a Greek salad on a hamburger, you got it.
Yeah, but there are all sorts of, that's a whole topic in and of itself. Family meal or food or servers lunches. We could do a whole topic about that. But yes, that is so true. Where you sub this, mod this, you're trying to come up with the best meal for the cheapest amount of money that you're going to get 50% off of. So it's like,
But then the customers do it. The customers sometimes
do
it. find the loopholes in the system to save $3, and I find it genius. I find it
Yeah.
absolutely genius. This restaurant that I had 12 different mussel dishes with different sauces. Right? They had a traditional to crazy. A traditional mussel dish that they had was fried Diablo, spicy tomato, pretty much. Okay, that was $20. You can add lobster for an extra $10.
Mhm.
Lobster pieces and stuff in it. The lobster bisque mussels was like a lobster bisque sauce with pieces of lobster in it for $24. Instead of adding the lobster bisque to the fried Diablo sauce for $30, they would say, "Can I please have the lobster bisque mussels for $24, but with fried Diablo sauce?" And we were all like, "This fucking genius! They,
Yeah.
they found the loophole." And I was like, I was like, "I know what you're doing. I get it, but like, I'm sorry, we just can't do that." But you
You know what
know,
I used to say? Talk about getting in the weeds. One what they had to bring this up real quick. Splitting checks. When
oh,
when a table asks to split a check,
how did we forget about this?
it's so important. And sometimes you could lie to them and be like, "I'm so sorry, we do not split checks after 8 p.m." they would they'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
we don't
okay." And
we don't split checks when I'm almost done with my shift and you're fucking annoying me.
yeah, but then you get a conference with a bunch of guys, and it's that was the worst. The work lunches, everybody's got their own corporate card and needs a receipt. They want you to do the labor. They don't want to deal with having to. They want you to deal with it, not them. So you end up splitting 32 checks, and some people just don't even tip
and and
on.
and itemized too. Like it's important.
Yeah,
Like it is so much harder to split checks when it's individualized checks. If it's a $300 bill split by 6 ways, I mean 6 credit cards, that's just easy math.
beautiful, beautiful.
It's still not like swiping one card, but it's better than going, okay, this person, what
I have no problem with that.
you
The
know,
six splitting six is
what
fine.
exactly. And I always try to like tell, like, because I go out to eat with friends a lot, and I go like, just split the check, or let's just bring some cash. You know what I mean? Like
Oh my God, yes.
cash is king. This was the worst thing. I could not believe these people did this to me. I was in the I was in probably the biggest state of being in the weeds in my life, and I'm busy. I have 5 tables. I have a table of 8. They say we need itemized checks. Is that okay? I go, yeah, absolutely, no problem. Meanwhile, I'm like, I fucking hate you. So I do it. It takes like realistically like 4 minutes, I would say. You know, which is a
Those
lot.
4 minutes are
Which
precious,
is
though.
long. It's long.
Yeah, yeah,
I figure it out. I have 8 separate checks with exactly what they ordered. This person had a drink. This person didn't. This person had
right.
this. This person had the appetizer. This person had the dessert. 8 checks, all itemized. Each one of them, cash.
Disgusting.
I go, are you kidding me? You guys could have left cash for one check of just chipping in what you needed to chip in, but instead you couldn't do the math, which is fine with credit cards. I get it. Credit cards are annoying. Sometimes I don't know what you're going through. You might need to bring that receipt to get a tax write-off or, the company card or
Right.
whatever. But when it's cash, come on.
Yeah. It's
Well,
just crazy, man. And sometimes you can have cool managers, and you'd be like, "I'm in the." Here's the thing about some of the restaurants. I've worked for diabolical managers that were just absolutely the worst in many aspects. Like I've worked for managers where if you came to them saying, "I need 8 itemized checks, can you please help me?" I'm like super in the weeds. They'd say, "Well, maybe you shouldn't have so many tables." And I'd be like, wow, you are so helpful. That
yeah.
is so helpful to this situation. Thank you. And then I've worked in restaurants where managers don't look at those instances as, oh, this person is not efficient or good.
Yeah.
This is my employee is in a jam. I can take this time away. That's kind of what I'm floating around for. I can take this time away so that they can keep doing their thing with their sales. It had nothing to do with ego. It had nothing to do with anything. the best managers will be like, I'll take that. I'll clean up. I'll mop that up for you while you greet
Absolutely.
that other table.
I would always help out with drink orders. I would always help out
Right.
replacing silverware. I would always help out with pre-bussing, and I would always help out by wiping the table down and resetting, because guess what?
Right.
The restaurant's success is my success.
Right. And setting your servers up for success. And if you have a waiter, and I've literally, like, I was in front of a table. I had a 3-table section. It was a crazy situation. I don't even remember what it was, but I'll never forget this manager going, maybe you have too many tables. And I looked at him cockeyed, and I just said, are you really having this conversation with me here in the middle of the dinner service right now? I need your help. And it was just like, it was bad leadership. It was bad management style. And again, it hurt them because me failing is them failing. And so the best managers are the ones that are literally there to back you up. Because here's the thing, and what I've said as a manager, when I was in a manager type position, I would say, don't be afraid to come to me if you need help. Because here's the thing, I would much rather you recognize what you can and cannot do and come to me for help than you telling me everything is okay and making a big mess of things and ruining a bunch of things that require comps because you simply felt too scared to come to me because you thought you would get hurt in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. Stupid. And let's finish with this, since we're almost at an hour. Consolidating tables and throwing them into the POS system to the kitchen, and the kitchen sees it. Like, you have your name when you put it in. So if, like, all right, a ticket's printing, it's Casey. All right, we got table 13. All right, and literally as they're finishing reading the order, another ticket's printing. All right, another table. It's Casey. What the hell is going on here? And then you're like, all right, whatever. That's 2 tickets in a row. Oh my God, a third one? Are you kidding me? And like, to get 3, I don't know how people do this. I don't get it. I think it's selfish, and I think it's just being a poor server. To get 3 orders from a table, and that just means that you were talking to 3 tables at once. And to go to the POS system and put all those 3 orders that are all separate at once puts the kitchen in the weeds, essentially screws you over, because that last table is going to wait forever for that order, when you could have literally, okay, thank you for your order, put it in, go get their drinks. Hi, what can I get you? 5 minutes maybe passed and other orders have came in, and then therefore your order is being like thrown into the mix, like in an orderly fashion way. You know what I mean? Like, I always found that the kitchen knows who's the weakest link out there, who, when it's busy, who's going to be in the shit, who's going to have food items come back. And like, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, the kitchen messes up, but what about when the waiter messes up putting in a burger when the person wanted a chicken salad, and for some reason,
oh my God, yeah,
burger, you know what I mean? So like, so the one restaurant that I worked at had 2 really, it was the best sections in the restaurant, and I always needed the top 3 servers. I always rotated them in those 2 sections.
Right.
I never, ever put an experienced server or a person or a server that I know that is flustered after 3 tables, because
that's common sense, though. That's common sense. Like, that's exactly how you should be. The best, even we were going back to that whole thing about the best sections do go to the servers with the highest sales, with the ability to handle the most
seniority and some seniority, you know,
right? I mean? And seniority.
Yeah. But you know, this topic is great because it just branches out into we literally almost talked about 5 different topics while talking about it in the week.
We forgot one thing, Trevor, and maybe we should save this we should leave it for the next time. You know what? Let's save it. Let's save it because we talked for so long. I don't want to open up this can of worms. I'll only say what it is. We forgot to talk about the hold button. I don't know if you have this on your POS systems. I believe there was micro something, and then there was, what's the Hawaii one? Honolulu or
Aloha.
Aloha, right. Aloha is what
the good old hold button.
The hold button
is great when you remember it.
Yeah, and the hold button is the greatest thing. If you're a good server or if you know what you're doing, the hold button is your best friend.
And the fire button's great too.
Right. But let's save that. We'll do an in the weeds part 2 because we'll think of more things. The hold button is one of those topics that we'll remember to talk about. So we'll save that for another day. This has been a great episode, Trevor. Thank you so much. We'll be returning, guys, at some point this week. Like, share, subscribe, comment on this stuff. I've been having a lot of fun doing these episodes. We'll see you later this week.
Yeah, we'll definitely get one out this week. We were in the weeds last week.
Yeah.
Said we were going to do 2, but
that's okay.
It's all right.
That's okay. That's all that matters. Okay. Peace and hair grease.